Welcome to the Week in Review, the show that brings you up to date on the week that was. Here are the top stories. Maruti projects grim outlook for car companies. Signs of an economic recovery as inflation eases and industrial output rebounds. And Kingfisher moves towards allowing FDI from a foreign airline. We begin with Maruti Suzuki and the outlook for India's auto sector. Car sales were once booming in India, but a combination of high interest rates and a slowing economy have put the brake on growth. Worse yet, the country's biggest car maker Maruti Suzuki was hit by labour unrest last year. Now, the company has released a grim projection for both itself and the industry. It says it will now aim to maintain a market share of just 40% instead of the old target of 50%. Maruti also says it expects the passenger car market to reach only 4 million vehicles by 2015-16 instead of 5 million. Chairman of Maruti R.C. Bhargava says growth forecasts have been slashed because of lack of reforms. He went on to blame this on the lack of political will. Despite the poor outlook from Maruti, new economic data released during the week shows some cause for cheer. While wholesale inflation is showing signs of easing, industrial output may finally be picking up. Starting with inflation, the wholesale price index for November fell to a 10-month low of 7.24%. In October, it stood at 7.45%. The decline in inflation was led by manufactured goods including metal products and cement. And speaking of manufactured products, industrial output data shows a rebound in October. The index of industrial production rose 8.2% in October on a year-on-year basis. In September, it had contracted 0.7%. Still, the growth is not as impressive as it seems. The high number is partly because of a low base effect in the year-ago period. And here's how the industrial output numbers break up by sector. Capital goods expanded 7.5% and manufacturing did even better with 9.6% growth. Electricity output meanwhile expanded 5.5%. Of course, even if there's an uptick in the economy, India's large fiscal deficit remains a challenge. Indeed, on Tuesday, Standard & Poor's said the deficit could be the biggest threat to India's sovereign ratings. It identified the country's high debt levels and its fiscal deficit as the most significant ratings constraints. S&P added that it only expected modest reform measures ahead of the 2014 general elections. Standard & Poor's sovereign rating for India is currently BBB-. In 2011-12, India's fiscal deficit stood at 5.9% of the GDP. The government had planned to bring that down to 5.3% this fiscal, though that target seems increasingly unlikely. Moving to aviation, Kingfisher Airlines appears to be taking steps to allow investment from a foreign airline. It has placed a cap of 3% on foreign institutional investment. The move would allow a 46% investment from an overseas airline. As of the September quarter, FIIs own 2.46% of Kingfisher. The airline has, of course, been grounded since October because it's out of money. Ever since then, Kingfisher has been looking for a foreign airline willing to buy a stake of up to the maximum allowed 49%. And here are some stories in brief. The government has announced a probe into possible lobbying by Walmart in India. The move comes after an uproar in Parliament over the issue. Earlier, Walmart had disclosed that it spent $25 million over 4 years to lobby American leaders. The lobbying included attempts to increase market share in India. Finance Minister P. Chidambaram has said the government will do more to revive growth in the coming months. But he warned that poor state of the world economy would impact India. At present, the government is trying to get Parliament to pass changes in laws for banking, insurance and pension. And finally, one of India's greatest music icons has passed away. Pandit Ravi Shankar, sitar virtuoso and cultural ambassador, died on Tuesday in California. He was 92. Ravi Shankar is credited with introducing sitars and traditional Indian music forms into the Western world. And that's all we have for you. Thanks for watching.